Good morning and welcome to Ralph's house on Wednesday. We're not broom watching today, we're brush washing. Events. Well, as you know, with this fireplace, my plan is to put a beam across there. And Mike Ames, my second father, not much he doesn't know about wood, but anyway, he's come up with this piece of wood for me. Now, at first, when I picked this up, I thought that's I don't know if that's oak or what, but it's heavy and it's very dense. But he assures me it is pine, but he said what it is, it's slow-grown pine, Russian, something like that. He suspects, not like the lightweight stuff you find in the B&Q stores and places. Well, not just B&Q, any of those kind of stores. But if you pick up a light wood, you know, it's the usual cheap knotty pine, but this is dense. And I wasn't quite sure how to fix this to the chimney breast. I'm grateful to Stephen Mitchell yet again, because I was going to raw bolt it to the chimney breast, and he said, no. What you got to do is drill a series of holes, put metal studding in that's held in by a resin bond to hold it into the brickwork. Do the same in the back of this, also held in with resin, and then the whole thing sealed up with Silkaflex. Push it against the chimney breast, job done. Well, anyway, that's what he says. So that's what we're going to do. A bit of more of an expensive route than raw bolts, but I don't want that falling on anybody's toes because it is heavy. Yeah, so that's it at Ralph's house this morning. And I'm just kind of scratching my head and deciding what I'm going to do. I certainly need to get the boiler spur put in, because at the moment it's running on an extension lead into an extension lead into an extension lead, and it doesn't always make connection, unfortunately. It's like I came here today and I thought I'll start the heating and the whole thing's off again. So, and when it starts up, when you first plug it in, it's got a long sequence that it goes through, purging the air and all the rest of it, so you can't put the heating on straight away. So I've got to get that done today. And I may not be able to, well, I won't be able to run the cable to the fuse box, but I can at least put it in a socket outlet. So what I'll do is I'll run the cable, make sure it's long enough to go down to the fuse box, and then I shall find the nearest socket and wire it into that, at least for a temporary measure anyway, so that, you know, the boiler's always accessible. So that's it today. The beam has arrived. How exciting is that? Anyway, it's covered in paint. So we'll maybe chip a little bit of this off, sand it off, and actually see what the wood's like. Obviously it's a light wood. My plan is to get all this paint off it and then start abusing it. Angle grinder, wire brush on a drill, that kind of stuff, and make this wood look really weathered. Round off the corners, that sort of stuff, and then slowly stain it down and get it down to the colour that I want. And that'll be, well, almost ready to put up. The only thing is, despite the fact I've got to weather it, at least one side, I don't know which, that I would imagine is going to be the top, because it doesn't have any nail holes in it. And I will weather it slightly, but not too much, because I may well want to put things on that. Do you know what I mean? So, and it's, I don't know, what depth's that? 2.5 inches deep, something like that. I'm guessing, maybe 3 inch. Yeah, so, you know, it's not exactly a deep mantle, but it's enough, it's usable. The underside's got a few nail holes in, but I don't mind that. It's all part of the character, isn't it? So, you know, that's a job I can crack on with this week, start preparing that. I'm not going to be too overly focused on the fireplace because I have got more important jobs. You know, this is way down the list of jobs to do. But I will at least have a look at this wood and see what it's like and what I can do with it. And when I'm not wiring or on board of wiring or, you know, or decorating or sanding down or trying to remove wood chip paper from upstairs, I can come back and do a little bit on this. Because I've noticed over the last 5 or 6 years, I start to get very bad pains in my knees if I do an excessive amount of walking or lifting or that sort of stuff, which I would imagine is osteoarthritis or the beginnings of it. So I have to manage my joints. So what I won't do is do 2 or 3 days doing the same kind of job, because otherwise, and it has happened to me this year, I end up a week or 2 weeks laid up because it's just sheer agony. So I've got to vary what I do, manage it in other words, and then I can get through all this work. Despite the fact I'm 60, I'm still reasonably fit, albeit overweight, which is something I need to work on this year. But that's it anyway. That's Wednesday at Ralph's house, and then let's see what we're going to tackle next. Well, I thought I'd get this wall done. It's got little minute cracks, can you see those? But as I say, this plaster is solid, it hasn't blown at all. So what I've done a sort of 50-50 mix, well not even that, 1 to 3 mix of PVA glue and water. Paint it over these cracks, and I'll let it soak in for about half an hour, work its way into all the cracks, and then I've just gone over the whole thing with a wet sponge and wiped it off, because I don't want to leave PVA on the surface, because that's difficult to decorate over. In fact, I could do with wiping that bit. I've missed that bit. But that should just bond everything together. Then I'll give it a good sand over, and if it needs any filler, it does on these holes and bits and pieces, and certainly there. But all these have got to be PVA, and some of these where there was a sort of, I don't know what was fixed here, but it's got an inset of wood which sits proud of the plaster, so I'm going to have to pull that out and then plug it to plaster, same up there. But I've filled all these cracks now with PVA, so that should, once it's all dried out, hold all that together nicely, and I shouldn't get any more trouble. As I say, there was an immersion heater here, and it was in a confined cupboard, so I imagine it got quite warm in here. But it won't now, so that should do it, and then I shall get it smooth and get it painted. And I've still got to cut out these pieces of angle iron, but I do need to check with next door to see what's on the other side of that, just in case. I don't know how thick these walls are. One would think 2 bricks, but there's no guarantee it may be 1 brick thick. So, and I don't want to jeopardise their property if they've got a water tank the other side. Otherwise we'll have to sort of rethink what we're going to do with that. Yeah, so that's it in here. That's that job done. I should point out, I'm not a tradesperson. I'm not a brickie, I'm not a plumber, I'm not an electrician, but I'm willing to have a go. I have worked alongside electricians in the past, and certainly done house rewires. So, I'm not unfamiliar with it. I'm certainly not scared of electricity, which helps. But, I always take precautions with everything I do, and I've always got safety boots on when I come here. If I'm going to do any kind of work, I make sure I've got safety boots. I don't put myself in a situation where I could be in jeopardy, particularly when I'm in the house on my own. It goes the same for going up and down in the loft or whatever it is I'm doing. Think very carefully about what I'm doing, and I'll be fine. But the good thing is, because I'm working on a zero budget, I have got money I could throw at it in the new year, but I think the more I do on my own with very limited funds, it helps. I get kind of creative with things and think, well, how can I do that without actually spending a fortune on it? And it's surprising what I come up with, I thought I'd start building that up again. Might as well. Anyway, I'll wash the bucket out now. It's enough plastering, I think, for today. If I make up another mix, I'll do the other side. Then we'll true that fireplace up, maybe line it. Plasterboard, possibly, don't know. Anyway, we'll sort of square the edges off a bit. And come across that, I think I'll take that skirting off at the bottom as well, because it's going to need 2 longer bits each side, isn't it? Yeah, so I'll take those off. Anyway, I'll get all that plastered up. And the rest of the paper stripped off above. There's only a little bit left there. And then I'll maybe think about putting that beam in, but I don't think it's going to be before Christmas somehow, do you? Anyway, Thursday morning in this back bedroom. I'm going to clear all the tools out of here, give it a good sweep up, try and get as much dust as I can out of here, hoover it, do the last of the wiring that I've got to do in here, and then get this room ready to paint. That's been planned for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday painting. Yeah, so I need to get that boiler on a spur, finish off the rest of the sockets, and that will be this room done. I can actually come out of here then and concentrate on the front bedroom and possibly this hideous bathroom. It's not good, however you look at it. Don't know. I think if the worst comes to the worst, I'm going to have to PVA all this and put a skim coat on it, but I don't know, I don't like doing that really. And these tiles will have to come off, because I'm going to board this whole area out with that shower board stuff. It's not cheap, but it'll tidy up the job at least. And get this sink off and get the toilet out so I can get to all this back wall down here. You know, that's going to be a couple of weeks, so you're looking at definitely after Christmas. But if I can get this room painted, that'll be good, because that'll be one room finished. I've got to box this in. My other half keeps reminding me of this, but it's what I'd call a low priority job, because as long as the room's painted, I can still come in and box that on. That's not a problem. But what is a priority is getting this painted and dust free and keeping the door shut and sealing the bottom so no more dust comes in from other rooms. And at least that room's ready then, and then perhaps I can think about putting the vinyl floor down that my son wants. I'm not sure exactly what kind of underlay I'm going to put under that, because I don't want it too noisy, but it should be alright. I should just insist he wears slippers. Anyway, that's it for Thursday at Raoul's house. I'm sorry I can't conclude it in the same way that Steve and Libby did, but that's it for today. I've just got a couple of jobs to do. As I say, I've got to clear out all these tools, because in the morning I'm going to be cutting floorboards and finishing off all this wiring, putting a new socket on down there, and that's it. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching.